It should come as no surprise that the Dragon Ball franchise has released some of the most successful and highly praised anime games of all time, with the series spanning well over 50 titles. But what if we were to go back and revisit one of the worst ever releases? Some might think of Sagas, the original Legacy of Goku, or even Ultimate Tenkaichi, but you would still be a damn fool to suggest that any of these even compared remotely to the atrocity that was 2003's Game Boy Advance exclusive, Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu. You see, at the time of this game's release, I was still just a little kid who was fresh off beating Legacy of Goku 2, and due to the success of that game, I rightfully assumed, alright, Webfoot finally has this handheld Dragon Ball thing down packed. That is until I picked up a copy for myself, and I was mortified. And it's not just me that feels this way. Type DBZ Taiketsu just about anywhere online, and the results you'll find aren't good. But that still begs the age-old question: why exactly is this game so despised? To understand exactly why it received such poor reception, I didn't just replay the game, I 100% the entirety of it. And in this review, we'll discuss, of course, what made Taiketsu such a bad game, if there's any redeeming qualities to it, and the ins and outs of the game as a whole. Now, Taiketsu starts off in a rather surprising way, with some fire intro music. But unfortunately, even a soundtrack sent straight from Kame himself couldn't save us from what we're about to witness. And the first problem you'll notice is the character designs. Now trust me, I understand. This is a Game Boy Advance game, and the characters are enlarged to an extent where it makes it difficult for them to look good. But even with that knowledge, damn, this is rough. You'll notice these are a bit off-putting as early as the character selection screen, but this is truly solidified amidst the battles themselves. Not only does the gameplay look rather pixelated, but even looking past that aspect, our roster of Z Warriors here look reminiscent of parody versions of themselves. Most notably, Vegeta, who looks like a damn troll doll, or Raditz, who I don't even know where to start with Raditz, but my guy is not easy on the eyes. Granted, some are done a bit more justice, like Gohan and Gotenks for example, and it should say a lot that I think of these as the better of the models, but I guess they're passable. The next problem I came across was the combat system, which I have to admit is oddly complex for a Game Boy Advance title. Basic attacks themselves, like punch, kick, and uppercut, are easy enough to get acquainted with, and aside from the fact that every character's moveset thus far is about the exact same, still provide a decent variety. But that doesn't help the fact that they feel very awkward and stiff at all times. You can also simply spam basic attacks to win. I found this especially apparent with Gotenks, where after some trial and error, I realized I could leg check any opponent to death so easily that the supers would become completely obsolete. And at times, I was thankful for that, because on the Game Boy Advance, you're working with a very limited amount of inputs. And believe me, they make the most of it. Even the most basic energy-based attacks will require memorization and repetition to master, including something as simple as Ki Blast, which typically in a DBZ game would be like circle or something, but in this game it's down, forward, B, all in a timely manner no less. The real trouble though begins when you want to unleash a real super attack, or ultimate move, from your character of choice. Each character will have 3 unique attacks, which are ridiculously frustrating to pull off. Not to mention, there's absolutely no tutorial, which is absurd, as the game expects you to just figure out that down forward L is Kamehameha, and that's one of the easier attacks to master. Some will be as complex as BRA back forward L, which, let's be honest, how the hell would you ever figure that out? And if you did, it would probably be from button mashing, and then once you figured it out, you would have no idea how the hell you did it. This becomes especially a challenge if you're trying to perform an ultimate, which requires 3 key bars, but typically opponents will just stand back and let you charge for a bit. So that's a plus. These also offer you your only opportunity to transform into a Super Saiyan or a Super Saiyan 3 for only a brief moment while you perform the attack, which again is a real bummer. And I won't lie to you guys, some of these attacks look not too bad. I mean, at least as far as my expectations were for this game. But although there are some decent ones, there's still a handful that are alarming. Vegeta's Great Ape, while interesting in concept, is pretty half-assed in this game. One of the weirdest attacks for me though was Android 18's back rockets, which rarely hit the target intended and look really freaking awkward. But since we covered all the grounds for combat in this game, I thought it was a good time to move over to Sky Battle, which is an original concept. In Sky Battle, you can lead or follow your opponent into an all-out aerial battle, which is also the game's lackluster solution to flight, where your only objective is to button mash faster than the computer. Whoever wins here will send their opponent hurtling towards the ground, and the opponent will lose some HP in the process. Alright, I tried my best to make this look and sound as cool as possible, but to tell you the truth, that's really difficult. It's ridiculously easy to win by just button mashing A or B, and the backdrop here, although I do get what they were going for, looks so shit. Which is too bad because it was my strat for basically every mode in the game. In most modes, you will take on 7 of these challengers, but there appears to be no rhyme or reason for the tournament lineup, pitting you up against the most random of foes. Except for the last battle, which typically is Gohan versus Cell, or Boo versus Gotenks, something along those lines. And to progress, you will of course need to defeat each one, either by knockouts or by having more HP when the timer runs out. And while on the topic, these death animations can be absolutely hilarious. Usually your opponents will fall over awkwardly upon defeat, and on top of that, the game wants you to be in a really specific position for your victory pose. So oftentimes, you'll just moonwalk to the appropriate center of stage. Also, opponents will sort of emote or taunt you at the worst times, like right in the middle of me doing a super, which admittedly is pretty damn hilarious. Moving on, upon completion of this story mode, you'll receive a very slow, unskippable epilogue. And with the amount of time I played this game to 100% it, I saw these a lot. Most of these are silly Dragon Ball tidbits. Like, and I'm paraphrasing here, Vegeta couldn't believe he had a change of heart after he saved the planet. Or Goku now faces his toughest challenge, his wife Chi-Chi. Some of these I can recite word for word at this point, and that's really not something I'm proud of. But one that I did actually enjoy was the epilogue for Raditz's campaign, which tells a story of him not actually winning any of his fights the entire time. In fact, he was knocked out for 2 freaking hours, and the whole thing was a dream. Poor Raditz, dude. Speaking of Raditz, he's also the first character you unlock out of the bunch, specifically by beating the tournament mode for the first time. However, while the rest of the cast will be unlocked by completing various playthroughs, for the most part, they can be pretty random. Certain characters can be unlocked by completion of specific tournament playthroughs, like Broly being unlocked by completion of Boo's tournament mode, or Boo being unlocked by completion of every character's tournament. While other characters like Nappa, Frieza, Gotenks, and Cell were all unlocked on random occasions for me, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, by the way, and is one of the better parts of the game. I mean, I've always enjoyed having to grind a bit to unlock characters. It's always felt really rewarding. Android 16, however, is the only character that can be unlocked via time challenge mode, which, by the way, is almost the exact same as tournament mode, even having the same exact dialogue after every playthrough. The only difference is that you gain some extra points based on how fast you beat your opponent. And as much as we're making that a joke, this is actually extremely essential if you're trying to 100% the game. Reason being, these are how you unlock all the items from the Z store. In the Z store, there are 5 different categories for items you could purchase, ranging from bios, which is, yeah, your typical character bio. Image gallery, which is, again, just some random screenshots from the show. Cool, but not something I really went back to very often. Jukebox, which admittedly might be the best thing this game has going for it. I mean, that Namek theme really hits. Again, credit where credit is due, the OST, kinda fire. Most importantly though, there will be a plethora of bonus game modes and game settings to unlock here, which you'll unfortunately really have to grind for. I found the most efficient way to do this, at first, was to use Gotenks and just shin check the shit out of everybody. But eventually I started to become exhausted with the game and just could not wait for this thing to be over. Basically, I got so bored playing with any of the characters and using any of their supers. So I started utilizing Sky Battle 2. Sky Battle 2 is the first bonus mode unlocked. When turned on, this will transform Sky Battle into Friday Night Funkin'. Basically, whoever inputs the most on-screen prompts the fastest wins not just Sky Battle, but the entire fight. Meaning you could jump right into this at the start of battle and not even hit your opponent once. Well, aside from you hitting them in Sky Battle 2. This ended up being a great way to bypass the repetitious nature of tournament or time trial. But as you can imagine, after some time, this became even more tedious, with my fingers on the verge of going completely numb. And by the time that end screen popped up, I felt like I just finished a freaking triathlon. Due to this, I started experimenting with the variety of bonus settings in Z Store, which will occasionally make grinding even easier. There were some I used only once, like Explosive Touch, or Invisible. I don't really understand why you'd ever want to use these. The third option, Fast Recovery, quickly recovers your stamina after blocking, which was cool sometimes, but also rarely beneficial for me. And soon after, you will gain the ability to use free super attacks, bypassing the charge system. But where the game really started to speed up and change for me dramatically was when I unlocked Fast Clock. I started to have a whole new plan of action, getting a solid 2 or 3 hits in, and then just waiting out the very short timer. This was a cinch. The points were racking in. Alright, I can actually upload my video on schedule. Also, I was able to confidently stop using Sky Battle, as this was definitely faster and less exhausting. But the real cheat code came when I finally unlocked the last bonus setting, Instant Death. Instant Death will, as it sounds, instantly kill your opponent upon the first hit, not only finishing battles in 1 to 3 seconds, but allowing you to enjoy a hefty, perfect bonus, time bonus, and first hit bonus, which nearly doubles your accumulated points by the end of the playthrough. This in turn led me to finishing entire playthroughs in under 9 seconds, and I even started watching other YouTube videos while playing. I was on autopilot. That being said, this method, while quick and easy, was definitely not fun, and still took a long time to rack up all those points needed. Using these cheats or bonus settings like this strip away any purpose or fun the game may have initially had. But if you want to 100% the game, this is by far the most efficient way. You'll also unlock another mode called Endurance x2, where endurance is fight as many opponents as you can, without stopping to regain your health. This is exactly that, but more. Yeah, there probably wasn't too much effort put into this. And lastly, sparring, which is a great place to practice your moves. But again, there is no tutorial here, which is very weird for a game like this. Also, you can utilize options to make matches even shorter, from 3 rounds to 1. Change difficulty, or change health to start at 50%. I assume would be for both parties, but it's only for you. So probably don't use this one. And that, my friends, is how I 100% the worst Dragon Ball Z game of all time. But before we do wrap up, let's briefly discuss an overview of our thoughts, both the good and the bad and the ugly of DBZ Taiketsu. And starting with the negatives, it's clear after playing this title for about 10 hours or so that the negative reception is unfortunately very warranted. Between the weird character models, atrocious combat system, and most importantly, lack of actual content in the game, there was a lot that was left to be desired here. To be fair, I didn't quite have the opportunity to play multiplayer, and I could see how that might enhance your experience at least a little bit, but I'd still only recommend this game if you absolutely have no other game to play, or you're just a huge DBZ fan who needs a good laugh. On the positive side though, as painful as it was playing these same modes over and over and over again, gaining points to unlock little rewards like these is actually something I really am nostalgic for in old school anime games. And also, I miss having to unlock more characters. It felt pretty nice having more than half of my roster locked at the beginning of the playthrough, and feels so rewarding when unlocking them. Unfortunately today, even Reddit would probably be paid DLC. And yeah, also, little throwaway, the OST is really good. But again, last point here, if you're a massive DBZ fan and just want to play every DBZ game there is, or just want a good laugh, it might be worth your while, but just go in realizing this game is going to suck. And for everybody else, skip this game, you will not enjoy it. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, the worst DBZ game of all time. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please do me a huge solid, like the video, comment below what you thought, what you want to see next. Any feedback is greatly appreciated, and also please hit that subscribe button. We are super close to 1,000 subscribers. That's my birthday goal. We're almost my birthday, by the way. Very close. Getting old, scary. See you guys really soon. Thanks for the support again, and as always, peace.